For those of you who've got a dog, will know that dogs are a great comfort, or cats or animals, during the time of lockdown, and Molly's no exception. She's always looking at us longingly to see if we'll take her for a walk, but she's a great little companion, and she's just exploring the flowers out here at the moment. So she's one of the great joys of lockdown, along with, as I said, the beautiful garden. I'm taking you through all the beautiful bits. It's not all looking like this, but so many spring blossoms and these little miniature daffodils and things. It's a beautiful time. These, I have to say, are some of the most adorable little calves I've ever seen, belonging to some of the girls from the church in Clevedon, who use this paddock of ours to graze occasionally. The first one that saw me took off at speed, and I'm sure as I moved towards them, they're going to take off again, so I'll see if I can bring them up. There's some quite unusual breed, and they're the beautiful looking little animals, most unusual colouring, and so we get a great deal of pleasure from looking at them, and for me trying to take photographs of them. It's our property. Well, it used to be church property, now it's actually the neighbours. We've got an acre, but this area around originally was church property, given by the first resident in Clevedon to the church to build a manse, and we were to be 5 acres for the local, for the minister to be able to run his cows and his sheep, and of course a horse to get him around the parish. So there's a lot of history here. We actually bought our house from the church about 12 or 13 years ago, and to say we have the privilege of just enjoying the beauty of these animals that are grazing nearby in the rural setting that we live in.
Well, good morning, folks, from the Chapman's Garden. So, Heather, how are you coping with lockdown?
Well, first of all, we just thought we wanted to touch base with you today. It's not our usual Sunday message, but particularly for the folk at Maraetai, we are just missing that personal contact of seeing you on Sunday, and also, you know, the plans and things we had in mind that may or may not go ahead. So we just wanted to say a special hello, especially to all of you, and say we're thinking of you. And we're sitting in the garden. I don't know whether you can see the beautiful freesias behind us. And it's a bit chilly out here, but we thought it'd be a nice place to give us a message. So I'm going to ask Mark. I'll come back to how I feel in lockdown after he answers that same question. How are you doing in lockdown?
Amazing.
Amazing.
As long as you don't give me too many jobs to do.
You don't take any notice anyway.
Heather has this thing about we should be doing lots of things in lockdown, but I'm doing them internally.
Oh, it's a good excuse.
You may have heard of a guy called Colonel Hall. He was a POW in Vietnam, and for 7 years he was locked in a cage, just over 7 by 7 feet, and for 7 years, and he survived by playing golf in his mind. He played every hole that he'd ever remembered. He played his home course over and over again, and he played games that he'd seen on TV. When he was released, he was skin and bone, and he was taken to, he was on his way to hospital, and he passed a golf course. And so he asked if they could stop it, and he could play a round of golf. And they humored him. The golf officials at the club, there was no way they were going to let him play, but he talked them into it because he was a POW and kind of a hero. And so they fitted him out, and he parred the first hole, parred the second hole, parred the third hole, and everybody was in kind of amazement. And then he went on to play all 18 holes and parred them all. And one of the regulars at the golf club said, "Look, how'd you do that? Is that just beginner's luck?" And his response was, "No, I haven't underparred a hole in 7 years, and I played hundreds and hundreds of games." He did it in his mind. So maybe your lockdown isn't quite as bad as Colonel Hall's lockdown was. So what can you do? It's called doing within while you're doing without. What's your hobby? What's your job? What's the thing you love doing? You can still play them. You can still do them in your mind, and turn this God-given time of quietness and stillness into something that can be a great help for your future. I hope so, anyway. So don't give me too many jobs to do. I'm thinking and pondering.
It's an excellent excuse.
I'm writing lots of sermons in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, there are some really good points about being in lockdown, I suppose. You know, when the highlight of the week is going, well, one of the highlights, no, I shouldn't say the highlight, but is a trip to Beachlands to do the shopping at Countdown, and you get to drive that beautiful drive around the coast on the way, and even if your husband complains that you spent twice as much as he would have if he went shopping.
She did. Terrible.
Nice. And I saw Barbara Kilgour, so it was lovely to see Barbara in there. And for me, with the broken foot before, it's good that I've been able to get back out and been up the hill the last couple of days, and mostly thanks to miraculous Jan Miller from church, who gave me some incredible exercises to do. She's absolutely a whiz, so now I'm almost running again, so that's been a blessing. And of course, spring. There's just spring flowers everywhere. And after we finish this little chat, I might attempt to go and photograph some of the farm creatures around here that bring us a lot of joy. I don't know if you've heard any barring in the background, but there has been a bit going on. So,
just for me.
So
I got energetic too. I walked 8 kilometers around the block, as I reported to some of you. And the downside was that I developed this terrible rash in my groin.
Too much information, I think.
You don't want to see. You may not want to know it, but it has slowed down my burning off a required 7 kilos that I was hoping to burn off during lockdown. So watch this space. Not literally watch this space, but I'll let you know how I get on.
Well, I think we should end on a cheerier note than that.
Yeah.
I think we should.
You should. So may God keep you in His grace, and may you find this time of lockdown or stillness or whatever to be a time to grow, to be a time to love, to be a time to enjoy the life that you still have around you. God bless.
And we will see you again on Sunday.
Here is love, vast as the ocean, loving kindness as the flood. When the Prince of Life, our ransom, shed for us His precious blood. Who is love will not remember, who can cease to sing His praise. He can never be forgotten throughout His eternal days. On the mount of crucifixion, fountains open deep and wide. Through the floodgates of God's mercy flowed a vast and gracious tide. Grace and love like mighty rivers poured incessant from above, and His peace and perfect justice kissed a guilty world in love. In Thy truth Thou dost direct me, by Thy Spirit through Thy word, and Thy grace my need is meeting, as I trust in Thee, my Lord. Of Thy fullness Thou art pouring, Thy great love and power without measure, full and boundless.